Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. It's Shantae from Simply Shantae's Plants. Today I'm going to be going over my teacher lesson planner that I'm going to be using this year and also a few of my favorite accessories. First accessory I'm going to show is this personalized notepad. It says a note from Miss Shantae, which is me, and I love using this. I just got this at the end of the school year last year, right before we went to distance learning, so I didn't get to use it too often, but I really like that there are different choices at the top, and also that the choices are positive. So things include showing kindness, following directions, and taking risks, and I really like that. The next accessory that I'm going to show is arguably one of my favorites. I always find myself reaching for this both when I'm in the physical school and when I'm teaching from home. This is the acrylic clipboard, and I'm not sure if these are on the website anymore or not, but I love this thing. I've written on it with wet and dry erase markers before. I use it for papers. I love this, and I wish I had more. I really do. The next accessory I'll show before I actually jump into the planner is the folio. So this is an 8.5 by 11 folio, so it fits my teacher lesson planner, personalized once again. Inside I always keep some sticky notes, some more sticky notes, and an extra bookmark. Of course I have my pens in here. And then in this pocket, I keep the Cool for School sticker book, whichever edition we are in for that year. And then I also keep a personalized notepad in here. I love sticking my planner in here, taking this with me. It's very portable and is super helpful when I am on the go, which I always am. And my book just slides right in here. Here is the actual teacher lesson planner. I usually get 2 covers and switch them out at the semester. This year I'm starting with watercolor apples because I absolutely love watercolor apples, and then for the second semester I'll be switching to the colorful pencils. So when you open it up, the first page is the All About Me page, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I put in my information. I've covered up some of my school information here, and then I left little post-it notes to share what I'm putting in each of these spaces. So here I'll put in our parent square code, my Google Classroom code, and my remind code. That way it's right here and available should a parent ask me for it. On the next page, I put our school uniform, and I put our school hierarchy for expectations, and then I also add any big dates or field trips. On the next page is the communication log. I actually already went ahead and covered up the labels at the top and have switched this more from a communication log to an address book. I contact parents all the time, and also my contact log is digital, so I use this more as an address book. I put the student's name here, the parent or guardian's information, and then their second parent or guardian if they have one, or if there's another person I should be contacting in regard to that student. I do have a caseload of students with IEPs, and then I also have an advisory, which is a small group of young women who we meet every morning and do our social emotional learning together. The next page is the year at a glance page. I've flipped it over to just half of it so you could see how I use it with my key. I just put my school calendar in here, and honestly I don't reference this as often as I thought I would, but it is nice to have it in here should I not be next to my computer or have a slight lapse in memory, because I usually have this thing memorized. I have the year at a glance page. Here I put my students' birthdays. I also put when their IEP meetings are due and when their re-evaluations are due. I've left that off for now because it is confidential information. Once we leave the kind of monthly overview pages, we get to the graph pages. I know a lot of people use these for seating charts, but I personally don't usually have more than 6 or 7 kiddos at a time, and so I don't need necessarily to write seating charts. I use it instead for graphs. So on this page, the first one is our school's 5 different stages for reopening this year. We're going to start in stage 1, which is full distance learning. This schedule here is our school bell schedule for stage 1. And I have a feeling I'm really gonna need to be switching this out as time goes on, because I might get confused with what our schedule is as we go through these stages. This side, I'm going to be putting an overview of my caseload and also an overview of the different groups that I'll be having this year for reading intervention or math intervention. On this side, I'll be doing an overview of the teacher's office hours and different cohort schedules. This side, the last graph page, I'll be doing a provider schedule. So many of my students have other providers, including speech therapists, occupational therapists, many others, and so to make sure that I'm not scheduling over their sessions with those providers, I keep their schedules in here as well. This page is the notes page directly behind the last graph page, and what I'm using it for is to track classroom purchases. So it's no secret that teachers spend a lot of money on their classrooms, and this year I really wanted to track and see how much I am spending. So at the top, I've written the date, the description of the item, how much it costs and where it came from, and then if I'm using my personal funds or if it's reimbursed. I cover this up because I've already purchased many things for the upcoming school year. Now let's get into the weekly overview. So I use these customizable subject stickers from the EC website, and I put different labels across the top. I color coded them for them to be a rainbow, which I have a lot of rainbow decor in my classroom, so it kind of matches. I also saw Taylor from Tattoo Teachers Plans do this similar colorway last year, and I absolutely fell in love with it. What I have going across the top is Miss Shantae's advisory, which is my homeroom light class. Then I have lesson plans for the co-taught math class I am teaching this year. Here is my reading intervention block, and so lesson plans for that class. On this side of the planner, I have a section for pull-out sessions. So I will put the student's name, what the pull-out session is, and then what lesson we're doing. I usually have a labeling system, which I will put in here, and this is to help me keep track and pace. I don't usually write out the full lesson for each pull-out session per day because there's not enough space. And also sometimes my instructional aides are also helping me with those pull-out sessions. The next column is for case manager to-dos. This could be anything from write academic report, or it could be schedule IEP meeting, or it could be take data, or it could be, progress monitor these 3 students. The last column here is for weekly meetings. There are an endless number of meetings to attend each week. Some happen every week, some happen every other week, some happen once a month, some happen once a year. Regardless, there's many meetings every week, and I just put them in this column so I keep it all straight. The last column here is prep for next week, so that I put anything I need to print, anything I'd like my aides to print, anything I need to cut or laminate will go in this section. So here is the last week of the month, and then when I turn the page, we come to this note page. I have drawn these lines on the page to make different sections for each person that I collaborate with most consistently. At the top, I might have my principal, my assistant principal, the school psychologist, the speech therapist. Then I have all of the gen ed teachers that I collaborate with for the different subjects my students are in. And I also have the other ed specialists, especially the ones I share a classroom with, the instructional aides, the school psychologists. I have a box for the people I need to contact the most. But because the days are so hectic and we always have a lot going on, and now in distance learning we're not in the same building all the time, I will put their names across the top, and then when something comes up that I know I need to remember to talk to them about, I'll put it in the box, and the next time I see them, I'll check the box and be like, oh, I remember I needed to talk to you about this specific thing that I had remembered at a random time. And then once I've talked to them about it, I cross it off. So it's kind of like an area for me to brain dump all the things and keep a running list of reminders for myself. I saw another ed specialist from my school do this last year in her teacher life planner, or lesson planner, and I really liked that, so I took this from her. I know a lot of teachers will use this for grading or use it for, permission slips or contributions to the classroom or anything like that. But what I use it for is case manager tasks. So if you're a special education teacher or have worked with one, you know that there are a lot of different things you need to keep track of for each student, including one of the biggest, most important things is their annual IEP meetings. And then there's also paperwork that goes with that. So I listed out the tasks that I'll need to do for here's the bookmark, for the students for the year, and I'll put their names across the side and just check it off when it's finished. I also do this digitally because I just really like to double check and make sure that everything is taken care of. The next checklist page is blank right now, but I will be using it to track when I'm progress monitoring students' IEP goals and also their reading levels. So I'll put their names across the top here and the goals and their reading levels up there. This one I use for my reading intervention class and for homework assignments, and also I keep track of words correct per minute that students read, and some other data related to fluency. This last checklist I will use for my advisory class and use it for projects and or contributions to our class parties and things like that. I used one of these checklist pages last year for weekly to-dos, so that included writing my instructional aid schedule, preparing the instructional aid binder, things like that I need to do every week in order to be prepared for the next week. I don't know if I'll do that again this year or not because it looks very different with each stage that we're in. It looks very different for home teaching versus teaching in a physical building, so it might not be worth my time to do it in here, but I definitely will create a system for that should I need it. Alright, you guys, that is it. My teacher lesson planner for the year. I use this for work only. No personal information ever goes in here, and I really enjoy having this dedicated space for work. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or message me on Instagram. I'll see you guys in my next video.